welcome to round two with Merfolk. Just want to give a preemptive shout out to my opponent Swag this round. We actually had some good in-game chats, which is always a delight on Moto. Like actually discussing cool things like various arts on cards, just stuff like that. So great job being a good opponent. So this hand's pretty obvious keep curve out to doing stuff. And they fire turn one just scry, which I believe they put on bottom here. And my opponent makes a great comment. I did not realize I was playing Merfolk, one of the few times I've used SCG Blue for recording, but it's very appropriate. So they scry to bottom. One scry is not a ton of information here, and they suspend a bloom, so we're trying to race to turn four. But one scry is not a ton of information, but it starts to add up after a few scries. You can get a picture of what's in their hand. The bloom is kind of a problem because if they can like unlife or have a second Angel's Grace, it's really hard for us to kill them on time. This hand also doesn't kill that fast. And not worrying about the mana, especially because the black mana. So with Bloom, they make 3 black here. They're going to cast their Adnals anyways. If I can seize maybe the like other white source, maybe, but I'm not super huge on that. Just my clock is my clock. And so they have a Serum Visions. It's time to do some combat math. So if I have Lord, I get to attack for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I did this math slightly wrong. So 6, and then 9, so 15, and then top deck another Lord, potentially to turn 4 them. Or I can sack Curse Catcher, attack for 3 plus 6, and then Master of Waves is a million. My logic was I thought that I forgot to add the 1 to the Lord on this first attack, and I thought I was 1 short with a third Lord at the top. So I thought I would just need to top deck a Mutavault exactly next turn to kill them on turn 4. I thought my out was pretty narrow, so I Curse Catchered. But thinking more about it, I think I should have just played to top deck my 9 outer and kill them. And they pay with the Spirit Guide here, so that's kind of awkward. The other reason I Curse Catcher there, and you'll see this play out in a bit, is that if they have land, and then Lotus Bloom on 4, they'll have 7 mana for Angel's Grace plus Adnals, and I can't do anything about that. Or if they just like play on life next turn, just like they'll have mana to pay for the Curse Catcher in most situations. So this hand represents a turn 5 kill. I do my thing. And they slight, and I just kind of am stuck doing my exact thing. I've made all my decisions. I'm not going to cut them off of anything. I should just make the play that puts them to dead on board next turn, make a million Master of Waves tokens. And I proceed to die. They go through their deck. They've used 1 Spirit Guide, but they're going to find another. They could have used a fetch for all little that it matters. I'm going to show you their library real fast. So the only super interesting thing to me, so they have 1 Pact Negation. The only super interesting thing is it looks like they're pretty close to the list that won SCG Indy. 2 packs. They have Brain Spoil, which I thought was kind of interesting. It's kind of cool because that's like a 5th copy of the card that you can only run 4 copies of Adnals, even though it only finds half of the combo, though you're never really casting it for that much. I don't remember Urborg being stocked, but it's kind of nice with Gemstone Mine. Not a whole lot to talk about in this deck. It's starting to really converge. There's 1 Lab Maniac, 1 Lightning Storm. Not that I'm really trying to interact with the combo ever. Once your opponent draws their deck, you don't want to be playing that game. You want to be stopping them before that point. So sideboarding here is super straightforward. Slow card, removal spell, done. Counter spell, in. You don't want to Seize Claim because it doesn't fight their artifact mana. Also, their mana is base blue and generally good enough that you can't Seize Claim them out. So, just off all that. I guess in theory I could board out Spreading Seas for cards with power and toughness. Maybe I should have done that. that's worth thinking of. Welcome to game 2 against Adnaz with Merfolk. I'm just immediately off this hand. It doesn't have real interaction, and it's what, a turn 5 kill at best. 3. I guess if I draw another Lord, it could have been a turn 4. 3 damage, 6 damage, or 7 damage, 10, and then easy 10. Maybe this hand's a little better than I gave it credit for, but it just didn't look good with no interaction. This hand looks a lot better. It has interaction and creature. Keep the action card on top. And here I play Mutavault first because I'm definitely not going to hit a blue source because I know what's on top of my deck and I might want to attack. And they scry to bottom and Lotus Bloom on 1. Their deck gets a lot better when they Lotus Bloom on 1. It's a little harder, well, a lot harder for them to kill on 4 if they don't have that. I guess they can pentad, but you need like more, guaranteed land drops all the way up the curve. You can't miss one. You need untapped land. There's a lot of stuff. So I do the math on attacking, I believe here. And so the idea is that I could attack for 2, and then violin this, attack for 3, and then if I hit another Lord, that's 7 and then 10. And if you did the math there, so this attack for 3, if I attack next turn with a 3 power Mutavault, and then 7 off of Master Mutavault, and then 10 off of Master Mutavault, that's 20. So there's no need to attack here because the second Lord would still be lethal in the same number of attacks. 20 is the same lethality as 22. It's kind of funny. This is like a lot of the, I didn't play Merfolk back in the day because I played fairies, but this is like the same kind of math you'd have to do with fairies, is incremental damage like this. So I opt to just fire the Spreading Seas, potentially get another card, hit a Curse Catcher or something. Nice draw another counter for sure. My opponent scries to bottom again, and then scries to bottom twice here, which implies that they really need an Adnaz, or they have it all and they're just looking for like a Pact Negation or something, and I'm super dead. So I make my play of attack for max damage in the hopes that I draw another Lord and kill my opponent quick enough. Again, another scry to bottom. And they go top bottom there. I opt to leave it on 2 because I have a 2-drop. There's just more 2-drops to draw on the deck. And here, I want to leave up negate because my opponent's been... I feel like my opponent doesn't have it. I'm just going to get them anyways. I can attack for 8 and then lethal next turn, I guess, if I didn't. I could just put them to no respect, dead in 1. But I think that leaving up counter is a little bit better. If I attack with just 1, it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. There we go. That was the math. So I am 1 short if I, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. I'm 1 short if I attack with just 1. So I didn't really see a reason to not just leave up both counters here. I have to top deck a Lord, or I can leave up both counters to protect against good hands. And here I fight over the Bloom because I thought the odds of my opponent getting to mana to survive, or mana to combo again, like this gives me a lot of time. It makes me start forcing them into the Angel's Grace Abyss. It gives me time to draw good things potentially. Vial still on 2, I have more 2-drops to draw. I do draw 2. And here, I don't think I needed to leave up Dispel, but the idea is that 8 plus 8 is lethal anyway, so it doesn't change anything. So my opponent sets up to a state where they have double Angel's Grace. They need Angel's Grace, Adnaz, land, and Pact here to kill me. And so I force the first Angel's Grace. They go to 1. And I just drop the Harbinger. I don't think there's really a reason to wait. And they go off. They have the Pact. I die. They have all the things they need. Um, I don't think there was anything I could have done from that point. Trying to think if there was something I could have done earlier to close a turn earlier, but unless my opponent didn't have the Adnals the turn that the Lotus Bloom resolved, I don't think there was. I did not draw Vendilion Click this match, or last match, which it seems pretty important in both of these matchups, but this is kind of what I expected, just like creatures with some interaction, but not necessarily enough, just kind of folding. I guess I could have always left up double counter for the whole game, and giving my opponents, I guess if I draw a land, so they would have taken, uh, so instead of countering the Bloom, I let that resolve. I would want double counter up that turn so I can't attack for 3. Let me just rewind and think about this. They'd be at 17, 15, 5. They would have died a turn slower, but I always would have had double counter up and fought. That might have been better. Not entirely sure. Yeah, it probably was better to do that. I probably didn't need to fight over the Bloom. That was probably a mistake. I thought I could buy enough time, but I was wrong. Okay. Duly noted. Duly noted. Unless you're sure that they're not going to be able to like double Angel's Grace out of it, maybe you're just supposed to. Because they only 2 packs. Maybe they board in a third, but them finding 2 there is kind of unlikely. And them assembling double combos also unlikely. And also I can save and negate for an unlife. Okay. I think I lost that game by countering the Lotus Bloom. Yeah, maybe that first hand would have been good enough too. Just like draw a Lord, hope to kill on 4. So I think that might have still lost depending if they had both Angel's Graces or not. Oh well, but we can spec a lot on that one. I think this game could have been a little better played. I'm willing to chalk this one up to at least 50% inexperience, like 50-50 that cost me the game or not.